All right, welcome everybody to our monitoring committee meeting. It's been a little bit since we've had some because we didn't have anything to update, but I have plenty to update on this one. So Kristen, if you will call us to order,
Okay,
and if we want to do introductions.
okay, the monitoring committee is. The monitoring committee meeting is called to order at 10:35.
Thank you.
And I'm Kristen Little, the board chair. I think everybody pretty much knows everybody. Everybody
Okay.
wants to introduce themselves.
Yeah,
Sharon
there may be,
Posey, board contract manager.
there may be just a few. I think Cynthia, if you want to introduce yourself, this may be your first meeting.
Hi, everybody. I'm Cynthia Humphrey with Workforce Solutions. I am the Special Projects Coordinator. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Cynthia. And Sandy, you've been on these before or not? It's been a while since I've had one, so I couldn't remember.
Yes, I've been on a few. My name is
Okay.
Sandy Starr, and I'm the program supervisor here at Workforce Solutions.
And then Donna, I wasn't sure, this is your first time on monitoring, or if you were here last time.
I can't remember. I've been to so many meetings. I'm Donna Adams. I'm the Child Care Program Director.
Okay. Yeah, I think we know the other faces there. All right. Okay. Again, I have a lot to share and they were all attached to the invite. So hopefully you've had a chance to look at some of those. Let me see. I'm gonna try to do this. I'm not as experienced as this as some of y'all. Let's see. This is our agenda for today. Okay. Maybe I hit the wrong button. Bear with me. I'm not usually the driver of these things, and I wanted to share my windows with y'all. Okay, and I have them all open. I just got to find the right ones. Okay, so I'm sharing y'all. Okay, so can you see the memo that I brought up?
Yes.
All right. Okay. So the first one I wanted to go over is that in November, we received some reports from TWC for their visit their period that they visited
May.
last May.
In May.
Okay, thank you, Lisa. And we finally got reports in November. So this one is for the SNAP, which is the Supplemental Nutritional Advanced Program for Employment Training. And they indicated on this report that all of our systems and fiscal stuff is effectively managed. So great job for the Workforce Center on what they do on that one. So we got the management letter on that part of the review. Next up.
Which means no
was-
findings.
Correct.
Yes.
The next one that they issued on the same date was for data validation testing of our WIOA program. We have to determine eligibility on WIOA, so we've got to make sure that our documentation supplies what we're keying into our system, but also the tracking that we do into our system matches up to documents, dates, types, things like that. So again, it was a management letter. So very good job. They gave us a report too of a few items that did not meet the validation. So it's just a learning for the center to make sure, when they do their reviews, especially for the case managers as they're making the entries, but then also for Darla's reviewing, that we make sure that it's the right credential. Because, if they completed their LVN training at Vernon College and we keyed it as a license, well, then that doesn't match up. So it's got to be to what was obtained. They just completed the coursework there. They hadn't taken their state boards yet. to be a license yet. So it's got to match up to the criteria. So that was probably one thing that didn't match up on a date that it was obtained or the type of credential that it was. So that was one little small error. Another one here was the date of program entry. So this has to do with data validation of when a service starts, if I remember correctly, that we have to have that supporting timesheet as to when that person started their entry into the program. And that was it. So very few, again, they gave us a management letter on it, but those are things that, you know, the contractor does review. So, and these, they have, when they do data validation, they have to look at older records so that the system generated data is there to look at. So these were records back from July 20 through June of 21. But again, good job to the Workforce Center. As Lisa said, you know, it's management letter, no findings on that. Awesome. The next one. This one was for the other programs that were reviewed. For this was for childcare and choices, our employment services, and the WIOA programs. And through their review, they were able to test the board monitoring. We do have Richard Rogers, who does our program monitoring, and also DS Smith and Associates that does our financial or fiscal monitoring. So they were able to test their papers and place reliance on what they were doing. So they did recertify the monitoring function of both of those on this letter. Now, going on though, the board had some issues, and I know we've already discussed this in prior board meetings, but there were two findings that was put on the initial report and on the exit interview, or the exit that we have discussed in the past. So part of it was the cost of the board meals. And the other one was ensuring, you know, our IFAs and MOU has the right requirements. So that's our memorandum of understandings and our infrastructure funding agreements. And this was a legislative rule that came out several years ago that boards have struggled with meeting. And I too am still struggling with meeting that. So those were the two findings on here. There's going to be another document that we'll go over that has more information on it. Sorry, I don't need to mean to make you dizzy on this. I was trying to highlight pages. Let me just go to the audit resolution. So through the process, as we've mentioned before, we have our exit with the monitors when they are here. And then we get their report. So that was the other two. And then if we have findings or issues, then we get an audit resolution letter. So that's what this one is. So we got our audit resolution letter. So this one was the 16th of November. And it goes over the two findings that was documented on the other report. So it is about the meals. And again, as we've discussed in the past, we send out a poll now asking who is going to be attending in person so that we have justification of how many meals to order. Because on this one, which was April of 21, this was kind of still COVID-y timeframe. We just didn't have the right amount of meals as to who responded. It was like only 9 people said that they were going to attend in person. So then we probably should have only ordered 10 meals, maybe 11, but we had extra. So I do believe it's Lisa's consensus that we are just going to pay the $93.50. We don't have anything else to say it differently, even though 11 people attended, it still wasn't based on how we ordered the meals.
Yeah,
So
just,
we will be.
And
I
that
just-
was our very first meal when we came back from COVID, that I actually had an in-person board meeting. That was our very first one. after the whole year of them being virtual. So, you know. Yeah,
It just cracks me up that they're worried about $93, and it's not like we did something irresponsible with it. I mean, it was food that probably got eaten, but I just, with all the amounts of money that we manage, and they're worried about $93.
Right. But
Oh, well, you take
it
it,
is what it is.
it is.
well, and
move
that's
on.
what, you know, they told me that, and I do still a lot for extra meals. You know, we try to do our due diligence, and even I have Ebony call you all to make sure, because not everybody responds. And then, but things come up too.
Yeah.
You may respond, but you
Right.
still might not be there tomorrow. So
Right.
I can show them that you responded.
Funded, yeah,
And, you know, so I can show all those things too.
Right,
But,
right.
you know, they tried to tell me that if someone doesn't RSVP, then they don't get to eat. And I said, well, yeah, I
yeah,
don't like that idea either, because I don't want to tell one of my judges if they show up,
right.
you didn't RSVP, sorry,
You can't eat, sorry. Yeah.
So,
You can't eat,
Well-
you can't eat my $10 meal,
right,
or my $6 meal, or whatever it is.
yeah, so it'll be fine.
Yeah, so we will be making payment back from our unrestricted, non-federal, not state funds that we have on hand. So that'll be something coming from the board.
And I guess too, I mean, the good thing is people will realize it is important, for me to respond, whether I'm going to be there or not.
Right.
And yeah, things do come up, but hopefully they know that, oh, well,
Yeah.
let's respond.
And this helps the subrecipients, the contractors here too, with their planning of events and things that they've got to be able to justify why they ordered 300 meals
Right.
based on backup documentation.
Right.
Okay. And the next thing on this was the funding for the MOU and the IFA. So they indicated, that through CSEP, which is I forget the senior, I didn't look up the definition, but we have like an AARP contract and a MET contract that service the older population and getting work experience. So those are the partners with the One Stop Center, and then also AEL is our Region 9 partner. So there's things in their contracts or their MOUs and IFAs that I need to strengthen, and also to be able to show a quarterly or monthly reconciliation of estimated cost to actual. And we have until the end of this month to respond to this. And then they'll work with us, if they like our response, it's okay. But if they see that something else needs to be strengthened a little more, then we'll go back and forth until we get a final product. And then they will let us know the outcomes of that, or that we've completed what is needed. Okay, so any questions on these four? From any of the board members or, okay. And I'm gonna move to my other. I also shared or added on here. Switch over to the other screen. Ooh. That Diaz has, started working on the review. So they just sent over the risk assessment. Let's see. Get back to my sharing. Okay, so they sent over their risk assessment. Can you see this one over here? I put it on a different screen. Okay.
Yes.
So this is their risk assessment. So this is part of just their process of the fiscal side. That, as part of our requirements with TWC, that we've got to look at the risk assessment for our contractors. And they go by the the Texas Register, the published regulations that we have to follow in order to do that. So they had asked for a lot of things from the subrecipients that had to be furnished. And then they go through those documents, and here, on this page. Probably do single. Probably didn't help you any, sorry. It tells about all the different things that they looked at for each contractor and what they were using to judge what the risk would be for them based on the information that was provided and what they asked for. So this was their risk assessment determinations. And they give a score to however those items turn out. And then they weigh those, and then they determine from that how, like, their sample size is going to be, whether they're going to review a section or not. So that was a risk assessment for Arbor or Equus. And then Rolling Plains risk assessment was here. So again, there were not any that were a high risk area as far as the total things that were answered. So overall, Rolling Plains was a low risk, and same for Arbor. So that was just their report of their risk assessment. So it's not that we need to take any action or anything. I'm just sharing that with the board. All right, let me get this one out of the way. The next one we had is just their monitoring plan of when they're going to start doing this. So they sent that out, and I contacted the subrecipients yesterday and asked them about point of contacts. So they will be sending out their document request packet next week, but they won't start the review until January. So there will be some time for working through the holidays and people being able to get their request in that they're getting. So anyway, so that was the reports on those. Just wanted to share with the board and with the subrecipients of what to expect.
And
Any
the goal,
questions? I'm sorry,
well,
what?
and I was just gonna say, the goal of this is to try to get all of this done prior to then TWC, when they come in to do our next year's monitoring that is scheduled for May. It was April last year. I was wrong. It's May this next year. So that's why we kind of start all of this process over again pretty early in the year.
And then one other update, our program monitor, Richard Rogers, he's notified us that he's going to be retiring once he finishes the current review cycle. So he's done the childcare, in which we're going to be doing an exit today with the childcare to take a look at that one. And he's in the process of working on WIOA, and then he'll be doing choices and SNAP as well. But he'll have all that finished in time for the TWC monitoring request as well. But he will be retiring, so we'll either be putting out another RFP or contracting out those duties. So that was one other update. Okay, any questions on mine? I think my part's finished. Wasn't too bad. All right. So next up then, it'd be Darla. Darla, do you want to do your own sharing?
I can do that.
Okay.
Let's see, here we go. Here. No.
Or I can. I have it up somewhere.
Okay. Probably be easier than me finding.
Oh, there, you got it.
Let me go in.
I saw it, but now it disappeared.
Let me find it first.
I've got it pulled up if you want me to.
It would be nice. Oops, I'm pulling up the wrong one. I didn't think
Okay.
I was going to be sharing, so
So do you see it?
hold on.
Can y'all see it?
Yes, I can see it.
Okay, thank you, Lisa.
I can.
All right, Darla.
Okay, hold on.
Can you not see it, Darla?
Okay, yeah. Okay, so I have here where there were no disallowed costs on any of the reports, so that's good. On the choices, quarter 3, all of them ended in 100 except for a few of them, and I'll go over why they weren't 100%. This one was due to a service 68 entered that was never signed by the client. So in that case is closed, so it can't be corrected at this time. And then the 98 on procurement was due in a major part to a new person doing the procurements, and it didn't affect the bottom line of the procurement. The lowest procurement was secured, but like some of the quotes weren't in there as they really needed to be. And since it's after the fact, it's too late because, you know, the quotes have to be in there before ahead of the time. But we did have a procurement meeting on Monday to go over that a little more on what needs to be done. So that should be corrected on the next review. And on the SNAP one, same case manager had another client in which they entered a 68 and the client never signed. And of course, quarter plus 20 has gone past. So that has been discussed with that case manager. And
You might
then,
share with the group what a 68 represents.
oh, a 68 is the service plan. When we put them into a service and we discuss, you know, how we're going to make them employable, then all those steps that they need to do goes on what we call a service plan. Some people call it a IEP or an ISS, but it's their plan to employment. And then finally, on the WEO case management, it was due to a mileage calculation that was off by a little bit, and a quarter plus 20. So any questions on that?
So since we were talking about data validation, I was thinking that you sometimes include those elements. Are they included in your case management and your eligibility?
Yes, and those were all successful.
Okay. Good deal. Anybody else? Any questions? All right. Thank you, Darla.
You're welcome.
Right, next up, we have childcare review, and I can share it. Or I'll let y'all share it.
Okay,
So let me find
we're
it.
gonna try it. She said she was sharing, okay.
Well, let me find it. I thought I had it up, but. I'll let you share it. If you got it at your fingertips there, Tiffany.
Okay.
I may have accidentally closed it.
You pull it up over there. As I say, I've never had to do it before, so. Okay. Just take the screen.
I see Carrie's multitasking.
Yeah.
Okay, yep, we can see it.
Okay, the total cases reviewed was 147 for October. The average monthly accuracy rate was 96.91%. So 100% accuracy for all cases with no disallowed cost.
And have y'all finished revamping your tool? I know that was something that's been going.
We were going to update some information on QA, but then after reviewing it and talking with and finding out that Mr. Rogers really liked the way it was, we're doing minor things to it, like a few things that are being reviewed, but not any major changes.
Okay. All right. Okay, any questions for childcare? Not hearing any. All right, appreciate it, Tiffany. Thank you. So you can stop your screen sharing. Okay, so are there any other discussion? Anyone? If so, unmute. Okay. All right, so we have our board meeting tomorrow. Hope to see you all there. If you responded that you were going to be there.
I will not be there, but
You will not be there, Kristen. She has responded. She will not be there.
yeah.
I knew Kristen was not, and
Yes.
Rhonda's filling in for her.
Yes, I'm very
and-
grateful for that. I know she's nervous, but she'll.
Oh
do
my
just fine.
gosh, I've had 3 emails from her this morning. I told her, quit stressing, don't worry, it's gonna
Yeah.
be fine.
Yeah,
It'll be
it'll
fine.
be just fine. Yeah,
Okay.
that's funny.
Well, we will miss you.
Well, thank you. And I'll
Tomorrow
see you in the
and-
new year. Y'all have
Yes,
a Merry Christmas and a good start to your new year, and we'll see you around till in the 2023.
in February, yes,
Yes,
if not before.
not before.
And I will be, for our next meeting, I will send out the poll before the board meeting next time to see when we want to get together and have our next one.
Sounds good.
Okay, so I'm done if there's nothing else.
Okay, well, we'll adjourn at 11:03.